I'm changing my pick. I think the Auburn Tigers win tomorrow.
You are Locked On Auburn, your daily podcast on the Auburn Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into Locked On Auburn, your daily Auburn Tigers podcast. I'm your host, Zac Blackerby, and thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Joining me as he does every Friday, the Darrell Dapprich, Montgomery radio legend, dapping it up with us. We'll discuss potential mismatches that could benefit Auburn, as well as who breaks out. And then we just, due to the timing of the news and when we've recorded this week, we haven't spent a ton of time talking about the impact of Horatio Fields being out. But Darrell, first things first, I want to make it public. I want to make it clear. I'm changing my pick this weekend. I've picked Texas A&M to win 31-27. I'm switching that. I now have Auburn winning 31-27. The more I look at these teams, the more I think of, I think roster-wise, they're pretty close, but I do think matchup-wise, I think Auburn has the upper hand. When you talk about the offense, what Auburn wants to do offensively versus what Texas A&M has shown defensively so far, and then I think Auburn's defense can slow down anybody right now, especially what they did last week against Oklahoma. I think they'll be able to slow down Marcel Reed. So due to the matchups, I'm taking Auburn this weekend.
Good for you. I'm glad to see you come around. I feel everything you're saying can relate to everything you're saying. My mind tells me that all those things are true, but I still won't believe it until I see it. And I keep picking Auburn to win these games on the road. I was right about Baylor, wrong about Oklahoma. I'm going to go with a little reverse psychology here before I get pitchforked and tarred and feathered. And I hope everyone understands the motive of me picking this way. But
you picked Auburn against Oklahoma?
I did.
I missed it.
I sure did. Yeah, I did. I think it was, remember the McPherson walk-off field goal.
That's right.
And then ESPN does a special. I'm like, this is a sign.
Oh, this is
happening.
Right.
And then I had my guts ripped out. So I'm tired of having my guts ripped out. And I think let's just go against the flow. Let's flip it. Let's change it up a little bit. Let's see if the karma goes the other way. I think until they show me that they can win a close game on the road against a top 10 team, I have to stop picking them to do that. And I do believe playing at Kyle Field gives Texas A&M a slight advantage.
Sure.
I'm going to go 30-27 Texas A&M.
Now, the game plan, I think, needs to be similar to what you did against Baylor, where you take what the defense gives you. The defense didn't give you a whole lot against Oklahoma because they were just able to overpower you up front, and they just totally took away the running game, or at least Auburn's coaches thought that. It did seem like they were able to kind of get some at times, but they just didn't feel like it was worth trying it consistently, it seemed like, and Hugh Freeze talked about that a little bit after the game. I think with Texas A&M, I mean, you talked about it with some of the A&M members of the media earlier in this week, but they don't feel confident in stopping the run. There's been a lot of inconsistencies on the back end. And I think it's going to be a different situation where Texas A&M is going to have to pick and choose how they want to slow down Auburn, whether it's, hey, we need to spend some time focusing on Cam Coleman and Eric Singleton, or we need to load the box and say, no, Jackson, no Jeremiah Cobb, you're not going to run the ball on us. It's got to be a similar game plan. And look, I think the defense that they went up against last week in Norman, that'll probably be the toughest task that they face for the remainder of the season. So I'm going with Auburn, mainly because I think the offense actually gets it going this weekend.
Remember how there were some things that leaked, that there was something that Auburn saw on film that they felt like they could capitalize, have kind of followed up on that a little bit. And when you talk about what the defense gave you, I'm a full believer it was that stop and go route. It was there 3 times. The first time Coleman stopped running. The second time he actually caught the pass.
Yeah.
The third time,
overthrow.
So it was there. They saw that Oklahoma's defensive backs were going to be very aggressive.
We should have won that game.
We're going to jump the
We should have
routes.
won that game.
Right? They were going to jump the routes. I think Auburn's going to be – I agree with you. I have this really sneaky suspicion, as well as Jeremiah Cobb has run the football this year, that Damari Alston's going to have a really good game.
I hope so.
And he's done a good job catching the ball out of the backfield. Remember, there were a couple of dump downs for big yards, big first down.
Yeah, on key downs, too, to kind of stay on the field. Yeah, good point. Good point. I do wonder, I almost wonder if we got their roles backwards throughout the offseason, where Jeremiah Cobb is going to be the guy that they throw passes to, and then Demario is going to be kind of your normal running back. I'm kind of wondering, because Jeremiah Cobb can't pass block consistently, I'm kind of wondering if they switched that, and Damari in passing downs is going to be more of the guy that's in there for that reason. We saw that a little bit against Oklahoma. Curious to see if that's going to be a trend, or if that was just their efforts of like easing Damari Alston back into the game plan.
He's doing a really good job of leaking out of the backfield and being a check. Now, Oklahoma was giving that to Auburn. They were so preoccupied with Simmons, Singleton, Fields, and Cam downfield, and you wonder if A&M. Now, look, that's the beauty of this. Let's say A&M's defensive coordinator, and Elko being a defensive guy like Venables as a head coach, sees that and goes, "Oh, we got to take away that underneath stuff. God, please do that. Please take away the underneath stuff. Please bring a linebacker up. Please spy Jackson with a linebacker and take him out of pass coverage." That would be a really big benefit for Auburn going downfield.
Yeah. What do you think, from a personnel standpoint, Auburn does with the tight end situation? Do they get to a point where they start playing even? I mean, I think they're running less two tight ends than they did a year ago, but do you think that trends even more with I hate it because I was really excited about the addition. I'm like, Preston Howard has not had a good start to the season. It's been really, really bad. And it's been really surprising to me because I actually thought that would be where he would be a strength in the passing game. And it's just been, it's like every time he's thrown to, it's like a wasted target up to this point.
Well, we heard a lot of good things about him.
Yeah, it's super disappointing. Yeah.
And don't forget, though, I think Auburn has kind of pigeonholed Brandon Frazier because of his size and said, oh, he'll be the blocking tight end. Howard will be the receiving tight end. I'd like to see, when you ask me where I think they will go, I think they'll go a ton less two tight end, and maybe they start to target Frazier a little bit more, who has shown that he can catch the ball. Remember, downfield, Robbie Ashford loved throwing the ball downfield to him up the seam. That little, I don't know, tight end drag around the goal line. Maybe shake it up a little bit and surprise some defenses by throwing it to Frazier a little bit more than Howard.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to that at all. Give me a Tate Johnson bomb. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Horatio Fields is out. How does that impact the game? That's next, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Mazda. Mazda's moving the game forward for those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, move culture, and keep the game moving forward. For a guy that moves the game forward, I'll go with Keldrick Falk. I know his stats haven't been like eye-popping, so if you're a box score defense kind of guy, you're not blown away. But the way he impacts the game, when you talk about movement, Darrell, Keldrick Falk, no question, is a guy that moves the game forward, much like the folks in Mazda.
Absolutely. On offense, I'm going to go with Alston because of what happened last game. Ran the ball hard. I know Cobb had better yards, but kept the drives moving forward with a couple of nice catches on big downs.
When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at DoorDash. And it's that time to look back and crown this week's MVP on who delivered, of course, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it matters most. And I'll go with Cam Coleman here just because, I mean, he's the one who set up the score with drawing that DPI. And then obviously Malcolm got in the end zone. But I think it's safe to say Cam Coleman delivered a week ago.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But I'm going to take somebody on the defensive side of the ball. And if you go back and watch the film, go watch how effective Malik Blockton was. Pushing the pile, pushing the offensive line, run stopping, made some really good plays.
Yep. And just like Cam Coleman and Malik Blockton delivered for the Tigers, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash Streaks. You save every Saturday you order. Stack it up all season long, and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. Horatio Fields. Yes, this happened. This news broke a few days ago. Sorry, just the timing of recordings. We just missed it the day we recorded. But the obviously injury to his foot, not ideal. We talked about how banged up the receivers were over fall camp and how deep that room was. What I'm interested in seeing is, okay, the number 3 receiver is Malcolm Simmons, but that's not what Horatio Fields does. Do we see more Perry Thompson because of this?
Well, we'll have to. The problem is they are different type of receivers with different type of roles. Horatio Fields really turned into the third down possession receiver, need 8, 9, and Jackson Arnold felt really, really comfortable. Perry Thompson screams more of a big play threat to me. So Auburn with Coleman, deep, Singleton, mid-range. Fields was really good to the sides, to the boundaries, needing 7 or 8. I hate taking the possession receiver out of your arsenal because you always have to have that dude on 3rd and 7 that you dial up, and he became that guy.
And Darrell, for whatever reason, we've talked about, and Hugh Freeze has talked about, like Jackson Arnold needing to throw to guys even when they're somewhat covered, just to give them a chance. For whatever reason, he would do that to Horatio. He trusted Horatio Fields so much where he didn't have to be open by 10 yards for Jackson to get it out there to him.
Yeah, somebody's going to have to step up. I think Perry Thompson, again, isn't your prototypical possession type receiver. He just really comes across as downfield big play. So maybe you start running Singleton with some underneath routes. Let Thompson and Malcolm and Coleman go downfield. I don't know. I don't know how they or Alston becomes that third down receiver with possession coming out of the backfield. Let's just stay out of 3rd and longs and do little dump downs and little handoffs to get.
You know how you could do that? Run the ball.
Run the ball. Yep.
Yeah. Not every play needs to be a touchdown. Not every play needs to be a first down. Just advance the ball. Advance the ball. And that's something that Hugh Freeze has mentioned with some of these guys. Like, not everything has to, just totally bust the door open with everything. So we'll see. As far as other things you want to see offensively or defensively, you can pivot if you want to, just because we haven't talked about the defense much today, that you're expecting to see from a game plan point of view for Auburn on Saturday.
Well, I really like the way their secondary played. I think Auburn's secondary played really well. If you take the K and Lee should have had a scoop and score. I think Auburn really did a good job in coverage. They didn't get handsy. There were no, I think, downfield pass interference things. So I'd like to see that trend continue. Yeah. And it looks like it might, with Crawford being probable now to play against Texas A&M. Your secondary just gets that much better. And all the much maligned safety play that we talked about, I think the safeties played real well last week. So obviously I like to see that continue, especially tackling Moss in space, their running back. You want to come up and make sure that, you help out your linebackers and your D-line.
Do you think, how do you think Texas A&M is going to attack Auburn's defense? Do you think it'll be through the air? I mean, Marcel Reed is a big play guy, whether it's with his feet or throwing it downfield with their 2 receivers. They're fantastic. I'm curious how much they're going to try Auburn's defensive front 7 because they've been so successful, and how much of it they're just going to say, all right, no, we're just going to go to the passing game here.
I think that there's been talked about that he's still struggles throwing the ball downfield. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to roll the pocket on him a lot, get him out, move him in the pocket, and do a lot of intermediate routes, hoping that Auburn's bugaboo early in the season of missed tackles and yards after the catch with Craver and Concepcion will allow them to get 10, 12-yard plays into 20-yard plays. I don't know how often they're going to try to test Auburn downfield because they don't feel comfortable with his accuracy. I definitely wouldn't make him stay in the pocket. I'd roll him, I'd move him, and then I'd let him hit 10, 15-yard crossers, which, Auburn has some trouble. I could see them rolling him to the right, throwing back to the left with a slant, that kind of stuff, and hope that Auburn doesn't wrap up. Eye discipline in the secondary is going to be very important. If Auburn gets caught peeking in the backfield again, or if they over rush or over pursue Reed, you're going to have some big plays that can happen behind you in the secondary at the second level. So a lot of eye discipline, a lot of lane integrity, staying in your areas that you're supposed to be disciplined with.
Yeah. Jay Crawford moved to questionable, which we'll see.
I thought I saw him probable. That may be my bad. I thought I saw the report that came out. It's probable. You're right. He did go.
I'm getting the sense that they're expecting him to play.
Yeah.
That's the sense that I'm getting. And Oklahoma had several solid receivers. A&M has 2 elite receivers. And I think you need elite corners for that situation.
You do, because Concepcion and Craver are really good, both portal guys. And isn't that amazing? All the 5 stars, the really, really good receivers that Texas A&M recruited in that year that Saban mentioned something about A&M's recruiting class and Jimbo. That was just 3 years ago. And none of those dudes are around anymore. They had a ton of 5-star receivers. So they get Craver from Mississippi State and Concepcion from North Carolina State. And they're good. They're really good. They remind me of Auburn's offense a lot. A&M's does.
There's some similarities across the board with these teams, for sure.
I wonder what their offensive and how they feel like their offensive line has played to this point, because it's a little bit deceiving, because I think Reed, although Arnold is elusive, Auburn's asking him to stay in the pocket a little bit more. They roll Reed a lot, and so I don't think there's the same kind of opportunities for
Matt Glatson of Locked On Aggies came on here yesterday, and we kind of talked about the 2 different offensive lines. He feels really strongly about A&M's O-line. He feels like they're one of the better ones in the conference. So take that for what it's worth. But just to circle back to Jay Crawford real quick, I don't think he's going to be 100% regardless. Does he play the full 60 snaps or whatever? My gut is no to that. And so when he comes off the field, do they attack, Rayon Strader or Rayshawn Pleasant when they come in? We'll see. I'm really curious to see what that game plan is. And does K and Lee follow Concepcion around? Does he follow, the other guy around? I'm interested to see how Durkin schemes that up, because that might decide the football game.
Whoever the more physical receiver is for A&M, the one that's
I think it's Concepcion.
Then you put Strader on him if Crawford's not in the game.
Because so that's not what Auburn did in the fall.
I just know that some of the stuff that I saw and that you saw in practice on the one-on-one battles with Cam Coleman, Strader was a dog with the hand fighting and the physicality. So that's why I'm thinking Pleasant seems to be more of the speed, athleticism, glide, turn your hips guy, right?
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, that's what I would do. But again, I don't get paid to coach defensive backs.
Yeah. So. Thank goodness. That sounds very stressful. That sounds very stressful.
I'd blitz them. I'd bring them. I'd bring more corner blitzes if I did.
Gross.
I like them. They're good.
Gross.
You hate them. I know you do.
Hate them. They take too long.
Steelers are really good at blitzing the corners.
Yeah, I need to order that hat.
Do you want to? When
Darrell and I had a bet. Our 2 NFL teams played last week. The loser has to order the hat of the other person's team. So
and wear it. And wear it on a
show.
So when you guys see Zach wearing a Steeler hat, you'll understand.
I just totally forgot about it. I need to do that.
I'm a little disappointed because I had a really, really cool hat picked out that I really, really liked from the old Patriot logo. But
Patriot throwback action.
I want to have to spend my money now.
The refs really liked Aaron Rodgers in that one. Between Oklahoma and Auburn the day before, and then how the refs treated Aaron Rodgers the next.
Yeah.
Day. Goodness gracious, that was a rough weekend. I was kind of over football for a second there. All right, mismatches that we want to see, and then just our overall thoughts on the game. Once again, I'm picking the Tigers. That's all next, right here on Locked On Auburn. Today's show brought to you by our friends at 5 Hour Energy. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade, Darrell. 5 Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine. And guess how many flavors? 17. I didn't let you guess. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. 17 flavors, each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. We're all there. Middle of the afternoon. Long week. You just need something. You just need something to get you through the rest of the day. 5 Hour Energy can do exactly that.
Especially if you're going home and you don't want to just crash. You got something else you got to do and you leave work. It's a nice little pick-me-up in between.
Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Get the favorites you love, or be bold and try something new in store and online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at Alumni Hall. Alumni Hall is where you last weekend went and got my oldest a new Auburn cheerleading uniform outfit. She loves it. Totally electric. Middle child, yesterday, Thursday morning, Darrell, they're getting dressed, and she demanded that she wore her Auburn cheerleading uniform that we got from Alumni Hall to school yesterday. So we did it. And the comments were incredible. Where did you get that? We got it at Alumni Hall. Darrell, you know how great Alumni Hall is.
Love it. Got my granddaughter stuff there. Get stuff myself. You can order online, go in store in person. There is something fun about going inside the store and checking out all the merchandise. Do yourself a favor and do that. Also have a location in Huntsville. So when you go check out the Space Center, slide on over there and check out Alumni Hall.
There you go. Because their deals are out of this world.
Out of this world.
Wow. 3 physical locations, Auburn, Opelika, Huntsville, or alumnihall.com. Thank you so much for making Locked On Auburn your first listen every single day. I'm picking the Auburn Tigers 31-27. I think Hugh Freeze and this offensive coaching staff will capitalize on being able to run the football against Texas A&M. That is what I'm predicting.
It's a good pick. I think Auburn will run the football. I think that they'll have some open passing lanes because of it. I think A&M's offense is very potent. I like their offense better than Oklahoma's. Playing at home, I want to see it before I pick again. I picked Auburn against Oklahoma. Make me a believer. Make me look stupid. Prove me wrong. Block out the noise, like the video said last week. And but I'm picking A&M 30-27.
Was your face on one of the screens in that video?
I was, and the video content quality of the video immediately dropped after that.
Which is just funny because you picked them to win.
I did pick. I raved about them all week. Why would you want to block that out?
Yeah, whatever.
You want to amplify that.
Whatever. Yeah, I think you need to go to Cam Coleman early and often. You need to find a way to get him the football, even throw it to him when he's somewhat covered. I don't think it matters. You got to let him have the opportunity. But another prediction that I have, Darrell, and once again, I'm predicting Auburn to win, so some of this is going to be tied together. But I'm going to predict that Jackson Arnold has a moment. And you already are starting to see, even with the loss to Oklahoma, you're still seeing some people say, like, it's clear Jackson Arnold's not the guy that he was a year ago, and Auburn's not the football team that they were a year ago. They're taking a step in the right direction. You're already starting to see that. But I think there's a moment Saturday where the college football world says, you know what? Good for Jackson Arnold. Good for Jackson Arnold for finding somewhere new that put pieces around them and where he was able to start over and get a fresh start and take that step. I think there's a moment where the college football world says, okay, Jackson Arnold, we see you. Good for you. I think that's coming.
You think it's in the air or on the ground?
Ooh, that's a good question. Both.
Ooh, he's gonna throw for a touchdown and run for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm expecting the offense to cook tomorrow. I really am.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, I 27 points may not sound like a lot, but it is. I think in the SEC, and 27 points would have won you that game last week. So this game to me very much has the feel of first one to 30 wins, and that's kind of what your score is and what my score is, just opposite teams. Jackson Arnold having a moment. I'm going to stick with Austin. I think he goes for 100.
Wow. You're saying Damari 100 yards and they lose?
Yeah.
All right. I hope you're wrong.
I do too. That's why I'm saying it.
Fair enough. Darrell, how can people check out everything you've got going
Follow
on?
me on X, Stap6410, Wednesdays and Fridays, and then with you, and then Sunday nights, the Barncast with you and Kyle Rush.
Please like the video. Please subscribe, and we will see you next time. This has been Locked On Auburn.